said, I don't see any hands raised right now. So if someone wants to start us off with the first question, the floor is open. Guys, have any questions for AJ?
Oh, I might be good.
I'll go ahead and fire one off.
Thank you, JB.
Okay. JB here from Spectrum News One. Hey, just give me the emotions coming off of your second stretch. Real adversity for the team right now at this point. The emotions and trying to get this back on the winning side.
Is there a chance you could repeat that again? You was going in and out. Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. I'm on the road right now. I was just asking. The emotions that you guys have right now as far as wanting to end your first losing streak, you know what I mean, of the season. It's the first time you guys got to deal with adversity like this. What are the feelings going into week 6?
Yeah, it was a little bit of frustration after that game. We felt we had that one won. We didn't finish the way we wanted to as a team, but we're sticking together. Coach gave us a message after the game and even today, and that's the main thing, just paying attention to details, staying together as a team, just rallying each other, and that's one thing that we started off doing today. But it's going to be a sense of urgency come tomorrow. So.
Hey.
Go ahead, Skyler.
Hey, AJ, as a veteran on this team that's been through ups and downs before throughout their career, how do you help some of these younger guys on the defensive side of the ball that may have not seen adversity, at least to this point in the season, you know, some of those younger guys that haven't really had to overcome adversity at this point?
It's really just to tell them to just stay on track. You got to stay positive, keep working. It's football at the end of the day. Everybody makes mistakes. You're going to give up plays, and we all want to play perfect, but we just can't do that. And that's one thing. We make sure nobody gets down on themselves because it's a long season, and we're always going to need every player. So there was no heavy heads in here today. We was just ready to come in, work, and just fix the mistakes, and that's one thing that I said about that sense of urgency. We're not down on ourselves. We just want to get better.
Let's go to Will Palachik for the next question.
AJ, I guess how has your role morphed over the course of this season, just based on the fact that there's been a lot in and out? JC got injured, and obviously there's been some different maneuvering when it comes to the lineup. How do you feel like your role has changed or morphed since, I guess, you initially thought it would be?
It's everything that I've kind of expected. Honestly, the only setback I had was just the injuries and just trying to get back out on the field. It's tough for me to try to tell a guy what to do when I'm not out there on the field playing myself, but just really staying the course, being a leader. You know, I tell guys certain things I went through in my past and my career, just to let them know, like, it happens, and just not to get down on yourself and just to keep working. And I'll say in our DB group, from our coaches to players, we're always trying to learn. Now that we got Stephon in there now, another all-pro guy, it's just guys always soaking up knowledge. You know, we all face adversity. And that's one thing that we're working on as a group, is just always communicating, supporting each other, and making each other better.
Did you expect that when JC went down, you'd play more outside, or were you expecting the fact that you still stayed at slot corner?
I kind of thought it would be the same. You know, my coach, Coach Cooper, he communicated with me, wanted to make sure I get my reps back, get back in football shape. And, you know, I was doing it in camp. I've been doing it my whole career playing outside, so now that I'm playing nickel for the first time, it's just slowly learning, everything like that, but I can handle anything, so.
All right, let's go to Jonathan Alexander for the next question.
Hey, AJ. Well, as well. I'm curious, what did you feel like what did y'all feel like y'all could have done better there in that fourth quarter?
You know, before you say that, the first emphasis we made was to come out at halftime and win the third quarter. We didn't do a good job of that the week before, and that was a big emphasis. And, you know, sometimes the momentum changed, and we didn't handle the sudden change. We didn't play complementary football, whether that get turnovers and execute on offense, or whether, something bad happening on special teams and the defense having to bow up. It's just doing our job. Not saying it in a selfish way, but guys want to make a play to help the team win, and Coach made that known today that we all just have to do our job and trust our teammates. So.
All right, we'll go to David Newton next.
Hey, AJ, David Newton, ESPN.com. You mentioned Gilmore in the room. Now, what has he brought so far? I know he can't practice, but is he in the film room? And what's he brought so far? And what do you expect him to bring once he gets on the field in a couple of weeks?
This is my first time ever really interacting with Stephon, and he's a quiet guy, it seems. But one thing about it, out there on the field and in the meeting room, when he talks, even if somebody else is outside talking, they just stop and listen because they want to learn so much from him. This is a guy that's been doing it at a high level for a long time. And, we expect that when he gets back. And then even in the weight room, even in the meeting room, this guy's working, man, and he's just being around the players, just telling them everything. Even during the game on the sideline, he's letting us know things that he's seeing and just putting us in better position and just communicating with the coaches. So, when he gets back, he's going to make a big impact on our defense, and we're excited for it.
Any example of things he's seen that maybe he's relayed to you guys that's helped so far?
Just his mindset with things, certain corners when we're playing man and we have a post safety, how we think, and his thought process was a little different, whether technique and everything, and he'll walk us through it on the field, whether he's talking to me or D-Jack, and just guys are coming around just wanting to listen because – the things that he's talking about, he shows it on film, and now you start to, make sense why the plays he makes throughout his career he makes.
Thank you.
We'll go to Scott Fowler next.
AJ, can you describe sort of in layman's terms the difference between playing nickel and playing outside corner and the challenges this switch presents?
When you're playing outside corner, you're more on an island. You have more one-on-one matchups going against bigger bodies. Difference between that and nickel is you're kind of your coverage, but you also have to play like a linebacker, play with fits, fit in the run game, perimeter game, getting off blocks and things like that is a little bit more different, and just the communication not only between your corner and your safety, but also your linebacker. So. If you don't really have a good knowledge of the game or a good knowledge of the defense, it's going to be tough to, be on the inside of that defense, making the communication to get the guys in the right call.
I will go to Steve Reed for the next question.
Hey, Justin Jefferson obviously had an incredible year last year and just seems to keep getting better and better. What is it about this kid that's tough to defend?
He's a shifty guy, great route runner. They have a great receiving core over there, and it starts, with their quarterback and their running back. But those guys, man, they're playmakers, and we're going to have to be on our A game with those guys. And I've watched him since LSU, and just to see what he did his rookie year, he's an explosive guy, and you always have to see where he's at on the field at all times.
All right. You guys have any more questions for AJ? Awesome. AJ, we appreciate the time.
Thank y'all.
And if you have questions for Morgan. With that said, if someone wants to start us off with the first question, the floor is open.
I'll start. Morgan, Scott Fowler from the Charlotte Observer. Have you watched film yet, I guess? Y'all have done that, right?
Oh, yeah. I've probably watched the game three, 4 times already.
Oh, boy. Well, so tell me what you thought y'all did well, and also in the last drive, what you did poorly when you were trying to get them off the field.
Well, I'll definitely start with the negative first. At the end of the day, I'm going to take ownership for the stuff I did poorly. I can't let people get outside of me when I'm the edge of the defense, so I'll definitely start there. And I have to do a way better job of forcing everything back to my help. I got 10 other guys that can help me, and I got to knock it back to them. I can't let them down by not being in my gap. But through the whole game, I feel like we definitely had some moments where we played extremely well. We did play very stout against the run, and we affected the passer. We definitely could have affected him a little more. But you have to give respect to Philly. They came out with a great game plan, and they came out and made the plays when they needed to make them.
Thank you.
Let's go to Will Palachik next.
Morgan, what were they doing in terms of, I know you guys did get some hurries and a couple of sacks there in the third, but what were they doing in terms of you guys not being able to get home in terms of sacking the quarterback?
Well, they first off, like I said, they came out with a great game plan. They threw the ball quick, got the ball out of his hands, and sometimes we let him get out of the pocket when we definitely didn't need to. So, they just did a great job of getting the ball in and out of his hands and making it to where it was hard to get home.
Thanks, Will. I don't see any other hands right now. I'm sure you guys have some more questions, though. If someone wants to ask Morgan a question, you can unmute yourself.
I'll go ahead and jump in here, Preston. Hey, Morgan. JB Rick from Spectrum News 1. What is the potential of this defense when you guys get all of your pieces in place? And from your perspective, how far are you guys from reaching that full potential right now?
It's hard to speak on the potential of a defense. We still have to put a real complete game together. We've had games where we've played really well and dominant, but we need to be better, and we know that we need to be better. We all have to improve, and as far as the pieces, we have great players that are out, but we also have great players at depth, and we just have to, be our best when our best is required. And this game we weren't, but we definitely, were able to kind of look, internally and figure out how we're going to fix this. So I think that we definitely have a lot of potential as a defense, but we have to really work hard to realize that potential.
Thank you.
We'll go to David Newton next.
Hey, Morgan, David Newton, ESPN.com. You're talking about potential, and you're going to add another piece after this week. And Gilmore, have you been around him that much, even last week or even in the past? And what will he bring, you think, to this unit?
Honestly, unfortunately, I haven't been able to be around him a lot, but the times I have, he's an awesome guy. I'm excited to have him around and be a part of the team, and I think he's just going to bring a whole nother level to this team, as far as leadership. And everyone knows about his ability. His tape and his ability speaks for itself. I don't even think I can describe in words how good of a player he is, and it's just going to help elevate our game as well as everyone around him. So I'm super excited to be a part of him being here and be able to, go make plays when he's on the field.
If he can play to the level he's played in the past and be that shutdown type corner, how is that going to help this unit?
Well, it definitely helps us up front, make it easier to go rush. I definitely never want to say easy, but definitely make it easier for us to go rush. And, it just helps, take away options from quarterbacks and give us a chance to get home.
The reason I ask that is because the sacks have really dropped since JC's injury. So how much is that coincidence, or is that, you think, a factor?
I think we just have to get home. At the end of the day, we have great players, that were pulled up, even with, JC's injury, and we just have to do a better job of getting home. It's on our shoulders, and we have to wear that hat. We have to be better rushers and get back there and get the ball and get the quarterback.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, we'll go to Joe Person next.
Hey, Morgan, to your point about kind of still trying to become a complete defense, Matt was saying that each of the last 2 weeks, you guys were on the field with a chance to get the ball back to the offense, failed to do so. How personally do you guys take that, and what can you do to improve that?
We take it very personally. You know, we talk about it in the building about, you know, when the hat's on your head, you need to wear it, and it'll be your best when your best is required. And, you know, in those situations we weren't, and we're going to fix it by practicing. That's the only way we know how. We're going to go out, we're going to work hard, and we're going to make sure it gets fixed.
All right, let's go back to Scott Fowler.
Morgan, just an overall question, but how would you characterize the mood of the team today?
You know, people are down, people are upset. You know, we went out there and we had a lead and we needed to make plays and win the game, and we didn't do it. But we also are a team that's resilient, and we're going to be able to go back, look at this, look at the lessons from this loss, and move forward and help ourselves improve. So, you know, I definitely think guys are upset, as we should be. I mean, we're competitors. At the end of the day, we're going to compete, and none of us want to lose. So if any of us were happy after losing, you know, we'd definitely have some issues.
All right, looks like we have one more question left. So let's go to Joe Person before we wrap it up.
Yeah, piggybacking off that, Morgan, with this being such a tough loss and one in which you guys led, will this be one down the road that you're going to wish you had back when you start stacking up the wins and losses where the playoff contention is concerned?
I think anytime you lose, you wish you had that game back. You know, no specific game you're going to look at it and be like, man, I wish I had that one back. You know, and to look down the road, you know, is something that we don't do. We're definitely focused on the next week, 1-0 every week. So we can't really say what we're going to look at down the road when it comes that time. We have to focus on being 1-0 the next week, you know, before we even can say that. But like I said, any loss as a competitor, you're like, man, I wish that wouldn't have happened, or man, we could have had that one back.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Morgan, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
questions format. Brett, I see your hand up, so if you want to start us off, go for it.
Thanks. Matt, the last couple of weeks, the first couple of weeks, you guys were getting a lot of praise in the offensive line nationally and locally. Then the last couple of weeks, it's gone the exact opposite way. Can you talk about maybe what has happened over the last couple of weeks? Is it just simple as fact as injuries with people playing new positions, or is it missed assignments? What's been going on the last couple of weeks?
I mean, it really just comes down to we haven't played well enough these last 2 weeks. Injuries are a part of football. You could find a culprit if you wanted to play that game. At the end of the day, the players on the field, we got to execute the job that's given to us, and we got to improve. The last couple of weeks have not been good enough, and we need to improve.
Can you talk about though maybe what specifically is not happening?
I mean, it's it's more than just it's not that simple. Technique has to improve, offensive line wise. We have to execute the game plan. We have to execute the protection plan. We have to win our one-on-ones. There's tons of different positions we get put in different protections that are called, and I expect myself, the entire offensive line expects us to execute those whatever's asked of us, and that's really what it comes down to. We have to execute the techniques and the assignments that we're assigned to do on the given play, every play.
All right, let's go to Will Palachik for the next question.
Matt, it seems like you guys have been very vulnerable to when the opposing D-lines have been running stunts and getting a lot of penetration. How much kind of do you have to use your role in terms of making sure that everyone kind of has their assignments down?
Yeah, I mean, every play starts with me making sure everyone's on the same page. If we're talking specifically protections, where we're miking, where we're sliding, what we're doing, if we're doing something different or depending on the play, there's tons of different possibilities essentially. And then at that point, it comes to what do you want to call it? Like a football intelligence level too. The defense, they got tons of different things that they can do or out of any given front. You just have to, as O lineman, you have to be ready for that. That's where your film study comes in. What should I expect here? Are they going to run a TE game? Are they going to run an ET? Is this a look that they do, or are they just going to push the pocket? That comes from film study. And then once you get in the game, you got to be able to play fast. We get to the line of scrimmage. You recognize what they're in. You recognize what can they do out of this front, and then execute whatever they give you. Because you can't guarantee what they're going to give you from film study. You can get good tips, but you have to be ready for any possible move or game or stunt that they can do.
Are teams defending you differently the last 2 weeks than, say, the teams in the first 3 weeks you faced?
Every team's different. I wouldn't say that it's some trick that they figured out. It just comes down to every team does things differently. Every defensive team has different game plans. Maybe there's similarities between teams, but I wouldn't say that there's like a trick that they figured. We just have to execute the assignments that we have on those given plays.
Thank you.
Let's go to Joe Person next.
Hey, Matt, we were talking to Matt today and kind of about Robbie getting frustrated, and there was a deal on the sideline yesterday. As a kind of offensive leader, do you have any concern about that and kind of wanting to keep a guy of Robbie's stature kind of happy and keep it from boiling over too much?
Hey, I mean, I didn't. I was not aware. I didn't notice or hear about it until today. We want to win. Like we're everyone on this team. We want to win. We want to play well. Everyone wants to. If it was up to us, we'd be dropping 50 a game. But when it comes down to it, we have to execute our jobs. I don't even know what was said. I don't really know about the situation on the sideline, but I know Robbie, and I know that dude wants to win, and I trust him.
Guys, I don't see any other hands raised. You guys have any more questions for Matt?
Yeah, I'll follow up, Matt. Last year, you guys kind of, I'm going to have to remind you, a couple losses started snowballing. What gives you confidence that this group, is different and can avoid that sort of skid, so to speak?
I mean, we got Minnesota this week. We got Minnesota coming in. Big game. Every game's a big game. We're focused on winning this week. Offensive line-wise, we're going to improve. We're going to work on improving our techniques, improving our fundamentals, improving execution. And I mean, you don't want to get into – you're not forecasting like a game, whatever, streak. The goal is win this week. We want to know this week. That's the entire goal.
All right. That looks like that's all the questions we got. Matt, we appreciate the time.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Girls.
Me, that's going to do it today. Thank you, everyone, for joining.